Hey everybody, welcome to my Suburban Oasis. So we're here inside today, staying cozy because it's 35 degrees outside and I have a lot of houseplant chores to do. So my name is Soleil and I garden in mid-Michigan, and one of the things that I like to do when I'm not outside in the garden is hang out with some of my houseplants, try to keep them healthy and just looking vibrant and enjoying the jungly vibe that they can bring to my home. I hope that you have some houseplants and that you can follow along as we do some of these planty chores. And let me know if there's any plants that you have questions about or things that you would like to know about, and I'd be happy to look into doing a video for those soon in the future. So today we're going to look at some of the plants that I have that need a little bit of potting up, and also some that are getting a little bit too big and I want to get some of the little babies out so that I can grow those on separately and maybe give a couple away to some of my family or friends. Let's get started. So today we're going to start with this little Burroughs Tail, which I absolutely adore. I think that these are incredibly fragile though, and even though they're easy to grow, as soon as I lift them up, sometimes I feel like I lose little bits and pieces of them. So what we're going to do today is just clean this up, and we're going to take some of the parts of what is growing up that was headed towards my window, and we're going to propagate that into multiple plants and grow those on. So it'll be fun. Okay, so I want to make sure that you can see exactly what it is that I'm doing, and this is a growth that I want to take off, so I'm going to snip it nice and close down here to where the last bits happen, and this I think we can grow on. And then I'm just going to clean up some of the little bits where I lost some of the Burroughs Tail, just to clean this plant up a little bit, make it look a little more beautiful. This is where some of my inconsistent watering over the summer comes in, and there's a little bit of dieback on the plant. This is a succulent and it likes high light, so I keep it in a south facing window, and overall it does really well there. But as I said, sometimes during the summer I have a tendency to just focus on those plants that are outside and forget about the ones that are inside that need a little bit of TLC. So now's a good time for me to catch up on what I need to do. Hopefully you can see as I'm just making some of these really small snips. I'm just using a regular pair of scissors. Any sharp tool will do. And each one of these teeny tiny little bubbles that you see, I'm going to call them bubbles, they're leaves, will actually propagate into an entire new plant. The other thing I'm going to do is try to be very careful at how I touch this plant, because it has a very waxy outer coating that makes it look blue, and whenever you touch that you have the chance to rub the wax off, so I'm just being gentle. Okay, I'm going to make this one fairly short, probably take about 2 inches of cutting, and we'll do a couple of those. My goal is to make another small pot of this plant. So again, about 2 inches. Oops, I know I just broke one off. Shoot. Okay. Take another cut. And then I'm going to take one right up at the top here as well. Okay, so now this looks fairly cleaned up. It looks like I have one other small there and right here, and I like the way that looks a whole lot better. Looks much cleaner. And I'm just going to take a little bit of soil and sprinkle it on top. Because it does look like the soil has sunk a little bit underneath of it as it gets watered in. It's good to have just a little fresh. And then after I get this on top of here, I will simply give it a little spritz. Okay. I like to keep a sprayer around just for these kind of things. I'm not going to water it in because it really doesn't need a real thorough watering or anything. It just needs to be moistened down to get that soil in through the little holes and gaps. Okay, there we go. That looks really pretty, doesn't it? And here's what it looks like under the bright lights. Nice and beautiful. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to use the little Burroughs tails and make a new plant. So I'm going to take a terracotta pot. I think succulents really enjoy having terracotta because it's very good draining. It also really just helps to draw the water up and away from the plant because it is very porous material. So if you're somebody like me who's a chronic overwaterer, or you're someone who is liking to grow things that don't require much water like succulents, then terracotta is great. So I'm actually going to take this and I'm going to cut it into two pieces because we have one leaf here and then leaves there. So we're going to cut right here, and then I'm going to make enough so that I can just propagate both of these. Hopefully. We'll see if that works. Okay, and then we're just going to take this very small end right here, and I'm going to stick it down into the soil. Then with this, I'm just going to make the stem a little bit shorter. And stick that small stem down into the soil. This one I'm not going to cut, I'm just going to bury the stem that I have right here. Now when I take a couple of small leaves off like this, I don't want to waste them necessarily, so I'm just going to put them along the side because they do also have the opportunity to sprout a new plant. Every single one of the little leaves could grow a whole new branch. So I'll pull about 4 or 5 of the leaves off of this and then tuck that one into the soil as well. Just want to have enough to hold the plant in place. Now that I've grown this plant for a little while, I'm kind of excited to make another one because I feel like I know more about how to grow it. I've had it for about 2 years now, and it is a slow grower. But I think I'll have much more success with this plant than I did with the other one. And again, with all these little leaves, I'm just going to sprinkle them around the edges because they will fill in any gaps, hopefully, with a new plant. I have one more stem. And then we'll get in real close so you can see what it looks like when I'm done. One of the things that's easy to do when you do this is to forget which side is up and which side is down, and it does actually matter. So make sure that you put all of your cuttings in the right direction. When it comes to the leaves, you can just simply set those right on top of the soil. But if you cut them with a stem, you do need to make sure that the stem is in the correct direction. Okay, so it's looking really good. I'm going to water it now with a little bit of spritz. Now it's important for your soil to be lightly moist, but not wet when you're doing a propagation of succulents, because you do not want them to rot out. So that looks really nice. Very excited about this one. Okay, this next plant is also a plant that is super fun to grow. I really enjoy growing it. This is a string of pearls. It actually looks a lot like peas on a string, but they're shiny and they're just very beautiful. So they call them string of pearls. And this one has grown very long, and what I want to do is just trim it back a bit, give it a haircut, and then utilize those cuttings to make a couple additional plants. This one is much less fragile than the Burroughs Tail, so I'm not as worried about breaking it. I think we'll see how it does in this pot. No. Let me put it in a tall pot. So I'm going to utilize this tall terracotta pot because that way it will have some area to actually trail on. Okay, I changed my mind. I'm not going to use this tall pot because it's actually going to have way too much room for the roots. Let me change my mind again. We're going to go with a really small one, and we're going to just put the string of pearls in like a circle on the top. I've done that method before and it worked really well, so we'll do that again. And I'm going to make sure to give you guys some updates on how these are doing as we grow them out. I know we did a poll just recently. I put a poll out on the site, and I appreciate everybody who took the time to take it and let me know how you feel about houseplants. And it's pretty clear that we've got a lot of variety of different houseplant personalities out there. Some of you really can't live without your houseplants and have just tons of them, whereas others of you feel like you kill your houseplants, and some who just have a few. So what I'm doing right now is just taking a cutting, and then I'm setting it on top of the soil, and I'm going to do a little bit more than that so that the whole top of the soil is covered. These have little sticky stems on them. I'm just going to try to gently get these apart. There we go. And it doesn't matter which way they're growing if you just set them on top of the soil, because the roots will find their way down into the soil. But you do want to make sure that they have enough contact with the soil so that they can get moisture and set their roots in. Okay, that looks like just about enough. So that's how full I'm going to make it. And it's going to be really happy. Let me see if I can get this tag off the outside of this pot. There we go. And I'm just going to give this one a little spritz as well, get it started. And it's good to go. We'll make one more of those. And I'm just using a regular potting mix for those of you who may be wondering. This is Miracle Grow, but I do also have some some Land and Sea. I think that's what it's called. No, it's Fox Farms something or other. Again, after cutting off some strands, which I just clip right between the pearls, there's no real special trick to where to cut other than where you want to. I'm not making them too long though, because I want them to fit into the small pot. And I want to have multiple strands. That way if one of them fails for some reason, there's 1 or 2 backups. So I have 3 strands in each of these pots. We'll give this one a little mist too, just to get it started. And we have a second baby string of pearls. So now, as you can see, I still have some beautiful drapey pearls that are coming off the side of this pot, but it's not so long that it's out of control anymore. Okay, next up I have this aloe plant. This is an aloe Guido. And you'll see I have some babies that are sprouting at the end here that I'd like to get out of the pot. I also think I have one that's tucked in right in here as well, and one tucked in over there. So I want to just take the babies out and propagate those. This little baby aloe Guido is super cute, and it blooms. It has a gorgeous bright orange and bright yellow bloom. I think it might look lovely in some of these darker basalt clay pots. So I'm just getting the stickers off right now. And I'm going to put all of the babies into the same pot. Okay, now in order to get the babies out, I'm going to use this handy dandy little shovel. I think these are like bonsai shovels. I got these from my mother-in-law, but you can get these at like nurseries or online through Amazon and things like that. But I'm simply going to use this little teeny tiny shovel to get in there and dig these out. And then I might have to snip to disconnect them from the mother plant, but they might also just break off, so we'll see. I think they're just going to pop right off. One of them did. Okay, so I'll show you the first one. So this one doesn't actually have any roots. I don't think anyways, I can't see them. But I will just stick it straight into the soil. It doesn't not mean that it won't develop roots. These are very much just like other succulents. And this other one I'm just going to give a small gentle tug to and see if it will pop off the mother plant. Yep, this one did the same thing. Also does not appear to have, you know, any roots, but it doesn't mean it will not develop them. Well, I take that back. There is one root. I don't know if you can see that. It's a brown root, and that's totally normal for these. Okay, so that's 2 of them. Let's see if we can get a couple more of the babies out of here. Okay. Here's one right down in here. I don't know if you can see that. It's right here. This one also does not appear to have any significant roots, but we'll stick that whole part down into the soil. I think I'm actually going to go with just these 3. I don't really want 4 in a pot. I think 3 will look better. And I'm just going to add a little bit more soil around them now that I've got them kind of tucked in here. And this pot is actually probably a little bit big for them, so I'll just have to be careful to make sure that I don't water it too much. These are definitely succulent type plants, so they hold on to water really well. I probably water this one maybe once a month. It's in my south facing window as well. Just a good mix to get some moisture down in there. I'll put a saucer on it, and here is our cute little baby plants. All right. We'll just keep the mother plants going in their current pot. Okay, this one's going to be a super fun plant for us to use. It is a golden Henny Eye, and so this golden Henny Eye is actually a plant that I got at a local plant sale. So we live right near Michigan State University that has a wonderful horticultural program, and I volunteered for one of their plant sales as part of the Master Gardener program there, and I got this plant. And I think they look best when they are like the specimen plant, but this is the golden Haneii. Just look at that. Isn't that beautiful? So it has some baby pups. It has 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It has 5, you guys, 5 babies on it. So what I want to do is I want to clip each of those babies off so that I can leave this big mother plant in this pot and just propagate the smaller ones. So let me grab some quick pots. So for these particular babies, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to get the mother plant out of the pot, and then I'm going to have to clip each of the pups off and fill them into these pots. All right, so in order to do that, I'm going to have to take some of the soil off. I'm really going to have to kind of search to find where these guys are connected to the mother plant, and that's the connection that I'm going to have to cut. So I'm going to try to be as gentle as possible, but it's not really that easy. You do have to basically get the soil out of the way. Okay. Snake plants do not have very much in the way of roots. They are very, very easy care plants. So if you're just starting off in the plant world, these are great to start with. They're also called mother-in-law's tongue, Sansevieria, recently renamed to Dracaena. So they go by all sorts of names. When I got this, I saw that there was a pup or two, but I didn't realize how many there were. I have already pulled one off of it. And these are fairly slow growing plants, so I know that these have been growing before I actually bought the plant. Now this is about 1 inch. It's an offshoot. It grows underground, so I'm going to have to just kind of dig in there and get that. Is there another one over here? Oh my gosh, you guys, there's another one over here. Oh, this mama has been busy. Okay. Wow. So there's actually 6 pups. And I do want to try to get some root with it. So here goes nothing. All right, we're almost there. I might actually be better off if I break this off, you guys. Just because I can feel it better than I can with the scissors. Do you feel my pain? Okay, here we go. Okay, success. That one's good. Look, it's got some roots on it. Perfect, perfect. I think I'm going to leave this baby grow on a little bit more. I don't know. These two, though, I'm going to take these off. I don't know if I should try to break both of them at the same time. Okay. Whew, it's nerve-wracking. All right, that one looks good. We got some nice roots. This one also looks good. It's got some nice roots. So far, so good, guys. Another one. You holding your breath like I am? One more super healthy, happy one. I actually think I'm going to take this bottom leaf off. Okay, so what am I going to call on this? I think I'm going to leave this one. And then let's get the mother plant replanted, and then we'll put the baby ones in. What I don't want to do now is bury it too deep. When I have these kind of plants, it's just amazing to me how well they do in my house, considering that they are from, you know, the tropics really, and they like the heat, they like the humidity, but they do so well even inside in Michigan. And that's just a treat, you know, considering that it's so cold here this time of year, to have something that is green and that requires just such little care. I mean, you don't have to water this very often at all. I would say once a week would be too much. It's always good to have good drainage in your pot for these because I barely water them. I do have this in a cash po, but that's just because again, it does just fine in it. It's a little wobblier now that it doesn't have its babies and all those extra roots around it. Gotta tuck it in real good. Here. Okay. Yeah, it looks nice though. And now for our babies. I actually think we'll try to, I was going to do 2 in each pot, but because their roots are so small, I think I'll tuck 3 of them into each pot. And that'll be pretty easy. I think they'll fit just fine. And they should separate out okay as well after I get them in. So I'm just going to set them basically in a way that their roots are able to get down into the soil here. Oh, I actually did 5, so I guess we'll put 3 in one and 2 in the other. All right. So you can see what color the roots are on here, and you'll learn as you have different houseplant what color the roots are, and that's an important thing to know about because it helps you tell whether or not they are healthy. Some plants, if they have white roots normally and they are this color, you would be a little bit scared, but and know that something was wrong with your plant. But because this one, this is the actual color, there's nothing to worry about. And if you're wondering where I got my little scoops, these are, I think, ice scoops from the dollar store. They come in a nice little pack. Or they're candy scoops. I don't know. I got them out of like the party aisle or something like that. And they have different sizes in them. Like a big size like this compared to this. And then a medium size. So there's 3 different sizes. They're pretty great. Now I'm just going to do the same thing with this that I did with my other babies, which is to give them a good mist down. Here's what they look like right now. Not a whole lot, but I think they'll enjoy being under the grow lights as well. I won't put them under the intense grow lights because they are a low light plant and I don't want to overly stress the new growth on them. Just trying to clean up the plant a little bit as well. Okay, there we go, all cleaned up and beautiful. Let's do the other 2. And the very last plant that we're going to do today is my Fiddle Leaf Fig, which I didn't actually bring down here yet, so I'll have to get it. One thing I will tell you too is if you have a leaf that you have to take off one of your plants or it breaks off from one of the snake plants, this one's not in good shape because I will say that when I was bringing this plant home from the plant sale, unfortunately I had to put my brakes on pretty hard, so that made the box fall forward and it actually damaged a lot of the leaf tips. And so this one doesn't look so great. It's got some tears and stuff, but if it was in good shape, you know, you can cut the bottom off and you probably still could propagate this one and stick it, you know, into a plant pot like this and wait and wait and wait. It takes a really long time. Or you could put it in water and that would propagate it as well. So overall, the snake plant is just a really fun plant because it is so easy to take care of and it's fairly easy to propagate. And you know, I don't know about you, but I only have so many windows in my house to provide natural sunlight to plants. And being a plant that grows so well in low light, it is awesome to have. I'm just cleaning this off right now because there's some dirt that got up in the leaves. This one actually looks like it might be rotting out, so I'm going to be really careful about the way that I plant this in the soil. You can see right here that it's got a hole in it. I don't know if it was damaged or what happened there, but I'm going to plant it so that the hole faces down this way. That way it won't, or like this, so that the water doesn't pool in there and further damage or rot it. It does look like it's healed over pretty well. So something must have happened to it in the past. All right, this one does not look quite as lovely as the other one because it's a little curvy just because I had to plant it at that strange angle, but that will be much better for it in the long run. And I think they're going to be really happy in here, so we'll give them a nice spot on the table. All right, we're not going to pot up my Fiddle Leaf Fig today because I have taken up quite a bit of time with my other plants, so we'll have to do that another day. So today we managed to chap and prop this string of pearls here by cutting off some small parts of the strands and putting them into 2 small terracotta pots and simply putting them on top so that they will grow roots and benefit from being there. Then we also cleaned up this Burroughs Tail, which turned out pretty good, and we also propagated that. And that one is right here, and it is looking rather lovely. And then finally we took this Guido aloe and we took some babies out and propagated them into this pot. And last but not least, we propagated some golden Haneii snake plant Sansevierias here. And so we have 5 little baby plants. I actually have a 6th one, which is over here, which I had already taken off of the mother plant a few weeks ago, and it's already grown about an inch taller. So that's really fun to watch. I think that this setup that I have going on downstairs right now in my house is really working out well because I have enough grow lights for trying out different things, being able to do more propagation, and it's a nice potting area to have. So yeah, I think that these are going to be really happy, and I hope that you enjoyed today's video. and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks for joining me. Bye!